It's day number 4 of the Rob Dibble Show, live from the Travelers Championship. Now let's go to the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut, and Rob Dibble.
This portion of the Rob Dibble Show is brought to you by Long Drink. Gluten-free and keto-friendly, the canned cocktail with a kick. My favorite's the new flavor, peach. Go to longdrink.com to learn more. And Rich Beem, as soon as he saw that, he gave me the thumbs up. You like Long Drink?
Yeah, where'd we have them? It was at the PGA. The PGA had them as a nice little, have a drink and whatnot. Look at this. The guy that I've been trying to get a hold of for the last month finally decides to call me when I'm on with you.
Of course. That's the way it happens, man.
Yeah, it's okay.
Always happens that way.
But, I tried them, and they have some different flavors. Like the regular one in the blue can, it tastes
That's my favorite.
It tastes like a Fresca.
Yep.
Have a Fresca, Danny. I mean, it's just like, thank you. I mean, give me like 20 of them. I mean, it's crazy.
Ricky
and you don't
Fowler's
feel
on
bloated.
it. It's a Ricky Fowler
Is
producer.
He's an owner, the guy that was in Maverick, the movie. What's the heck's the kid's name with the mustache?
I don't know. You know,
but he's one of the part owners because
they're magically delicious, as I like to say.
There you go. So let me ask you about this because, the PGA, at least they lightened up on the caddies. They can wear shorts on a day like today, but the players still have to wear these slacks. And even some of them, I'm watching them on the range right now, they're in black. Like, how can that be comfortable? They have black shirts, black pants. But I guess some of these guys that are from, like, South Africa and Australia and stuff like that, they're used to this kind of weather. But why can't they lighten up and let them wear shorts?
Well, those guys are athletes, though, that are wearing black.
Yeah,
I mean you look out there and just see athletes all over, don't you?
A lot more than of
No,
fast.
I'm kidding. A lot more. Yeah, there's no
fast.
kidding. I mean, you're not going to see Stadler, Craig Stadler.
Oh, my God, Stadler was
Colt,
my favorite.
Yeah, Colt Nose, anybody like
John
that.
Daly.
Oh, JD. Yeah, no. Well, he'd be down there ripping darts, though, so that's not a problem. I think it's going to be another if it takes more than 3 more years for these guys to having to wear pants all the time, and I don't know what kind of criteria it'll be. Like when the caddies first started wearing shorts, there's a criteria that came out and said it's got to be over X heat index.
Right.
And then pretty soon it didn't take long for that to be kind of abolished anyways. I just kind of look at it as I think that the time has come for these guys to, go out there and do what they do when you're at home. I mean,
Right.
It's kind of an outdated concept, I think, and it'll be, again, probably 3 years. I think probably one of the things that probably slowed them down from actually playing in shorts, because they can play practice rounds in shorts, is the fact that Liv does it. And,
Right.
they don't want to look like they're following Liv's lead, but that's another story altogether. But I would imagine in the next 3 years, these guys are going to be wearing shorts during the summertime. Because it's not like, they're going to wear anything ridiculous. I mean, they're going to be wearing all the stuff that their sponsors want them to wear, and it's going to look tight, so they'll be fine.
We're talking to Rich Beem from Sky Sports, former PGA champion.
I got a lot of questions about several players, some of the newbies, but I want to start with one that everybody knows about. Why is Scotty Scheffler so good? Just explain it to our listeners of how he is dominating the field right now.
So the weird thing is that everybody looks at his swing and thinks that how can he hit the ball with his feet moving all over the place? But if you look to the root of why he has to move his feet, it's the way that he swings the club. It's on one plane, but he doesn't have any wrist set. So basically, he's just swinging the club with his entire body. His hands have very little movement to it. And when you start off in a position where your hands are really close to your body, and you take it straight up, and then you bring them back down to that position, but you're turning your body in the same breath, something has got to give, because you can't turn your body and have your feet planted on the ground and swing the golf club to a finish. You'll break something. You have to move your feet somehow, some way. And it's just as simple. The reason is just because he doesn't move his wrists at all. I mean, his wrists have very little set, very little hinge to them, and he still has this wide arc, and it's just a repeatable thing. It's just basically stand over it, aim a certain direction. If you want to fade it, open up the face a little bit. If you want to draw it, close the face a little bit and turn it loose. It's the same exact thing every single time. And the fact that he's just a hell of a competitor. I mean, he wakes up every day and just wants to beat everybody all the time. Now, will that change with time? I mean, maybe not. It never happened with Tiger. But, to sustain that desire for so long, I mean, it, Rob, you got to wake up every single day, and it's just full-on commitment 24/7. And, with all the money out there, how do you do that?
It's got to be tough.
It's got to be tough. But, I mean, listen, what he does right now is amazing. And I think that, thankfully he switched to the different putter this year at Bay Hill, and it changed, the way that he played. But I think it's the best thing for golf, because we said it for a long time, is that all this guy needs to do is putt average, and he's going to roll the dice. And they proved us right. He proved us right. And now it's just a confidence thing every single day, waking up and getting a good feel for the greens. Like, he didn't have a good feel for the greens last week, which, to be fair, a lot of guys didn't.
Yeah,
it was
really,
extremely hard. But I'm looking at it, this week he's back in a comfortable type setting, comfortable green speed, comfortable look. I mean, just for him to go out there and shoot 65 every day is just like falling out of bed for him. I mean, it's that easy. He's just crazy good.
Let me talk about the signature event that this is now. $20 million in purse money. I can't think of anything I'd rather do for 4 days and try to chase $4 million check for these guys. And so let me ask you, tennis and golf are two of the best sports where you play great for 4 days. You can win $4 million. That's got to drive some of these guys to go to a Travelers, go to these signature events and stuff like that. That's why we have 44 of the best 50 players on the planet here out of 71 this week.
It's yes, and the one thing that we have seen though throughout these signature events, and it's just 3 in particular. It's Tiger's event, the Genesis, Arnold Palmer and his event down at Bay Hill, and then the Memorial Jacks event. Those 3 events, they have a cut. I think we invite a few more players, but not many. And there's a cut though, and there's nothing really more riveting than knowing that you're part of a limited field event, but there's still a cut that you have to make. So you can't just go out there and after the first day you shoot 78 and you just say, you know what, never mind, I'm still going to make 40,000 or whatever last place is. If you go out and you play bad, like, listen, I still need to play for something because I need to make this cut. Making a cut for these players it drives them every single day. The winning is one thing, but when you're not playing very good and you're kind of on that cut line, Scotty Scheffler again last week, he dearly wanted to make the cut at the U.S. Open, and he did right on the number, but he was grinding it all the way to the end. And I think that's where we show what these players are truly made of. We know what they're made of when they're trying to win. That's easy. But when we see a really top player go out there and try and make a cut, and he's right on the edge because he just doesn't have it, that's when you get to see exactly who he is and what he's got in his system. And that's where you get to feel, okay, this guy's a hell of a competitor. We saw it last year a number of times with John Rahm coming down the stretch when he was playing well. And it was interesting to watch because winning is easy for them. Sometimes making the cut, though, is the hardest thing to do.
I feel for you guys, man. I'm just looking at you guys and the money that closers are getting these days, the money we're talking about at this tournament for PGA
but we invested
Pro.
well, and
Right.
if you look at and how beautiful we are,
Exactly.
listen, money just falls out of the sky
Of course.
into our.
Of
I mean,
course.
it's so easy.
All right, let me ask you about a youngster that I've kind of fallen in love with this 2024 season, Akshay Bhatia.
Yeah.
Is this a flash in the pan,
Oh,
or
God,
is
no.
this guy's going to stay?
No, this kid actually never went to college. I think at
Right.
17 years old, he turned professional.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of like, man, is that? I mean, you look at his swing and his resume was good, but was it great? Not necessarily. It might have been great for the junior players, but there's so much more to learn at every single level. But he decided just to turn professional because this is what he wanted to do. And if you look where his journey has been, I mean, he's had to play all over the planet. He's had to play in the cornfield. Every single place, it's taken him time to get a little bit better, and a little bit better. Now it just seems like he knew that he wanted to be on the PGA Tour at one time. He knew he would be on the PGA Tour. Now it's just, okay, now I'm here, and I think every single week is just another stepping stone for him to get better and better and better. I mean, the guy's a stud. I mean, he swings at it great. He's loose. He's limber. He can shift it out there a country mile, and he's just one of these talents that is going to be around for quite a while. Whether he contends, wins in majors and things like that, I think that remains to be seen. But I think each and every week that he's out here, he's always going to get better.
Tell me about the TrackMan, and so we've got it out here, Travelers. People can watch what these golfers are doing, but exit velo, we talk a lot about it in baseball and stuff, but for golfers, how does this help you? The spin rate on the ball, things like that. How is it helping the modern day? Because like a DeChambeau is like a analytics nerd crazy, though.
Yeah.
So for these guys, do they spend too much time on the technology, or can it help them and benefit them when they're not swinging well?
I think when you get to this level, Rob, you kind of know what you're looking for when it comes to TrackMan numbers, right? Like, you've been working with your instructor for years and years, and when TrackMan first came out, it had all this data, but like, what does it mean?
Right.
How does it fit into each individual's performance? Like, some of these guys are probably just looking at raw numbers. What is the spin rate? How far is the golf ball traveling? Especially on warm days like this, because you want to know how much further is it going than what it normally does back home, right? Certainly when you go to elevation or sea level, that changes everything. But I think that for the normal golfer, when they first kind of see what TrackMan does, there is a mind-blowing number of tiles they have on your laptop that you can decide what is most important to you. And I'm willing to guess there's probably 50 of them that you could look at. Now, probably 85% of them, I couldn't tell you exactly why or when. But it does help the modern instructor, because if I swing the golf club, and I've got actually something I can show you on my phone, but when I swing the golf club, you can see what the path looks like going from in to out or out to in, and face angle, side spin, things like that. Like, what makes the golf ball curve, it will show up on your TrackMan numbers. Now, here's the cool thing about it, because like, I swing it usually a little bit from out to in, I cut across it, but with the way that my club face is always a little closed with the way that I deliver it, so I offset them. So you can, you look at some of these numbers and you can kind of offset things. This is negative 0.5, but this is plus 0.5. So all of a sudden you get zero. Like, it's really intriguing, but boy, you can go down into a rabbit hole and never, ever, ever come out, man. It is, you can, like, again, I'll show you guys some numbers here in the break, but it is so mind-boggling what you can actually try and figure out. And some instructors get really deep into it, and some guys just try and keep it as simple as they can. I would imagine Bryson has got a multitude of things that he's looking at, but I also think, though, that he's also simplified some of that as well, because when you're starting to learn, and Victor Hovland would be one of these players struggling right now after, he actually had a really good PGA, but coming off a $35 million win last year, looks for a new instructor, looks to find out more about his golf game and his golf swing. I would imagine he got far down on that rabbit hole where it's like, wait, you got to back out. You got to, you can start looking for certain things that you want to get better at, but you can't go and start looking at all of them, which sometimes TrackMan can show you every single thing that you could possibly want to know. But the more you understand about it, now you're going to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, it really is bizarre. But so these guys out here, a lot of what these TrackMan numbers out here are out on the driving range for, it's for the fans. It's for the fans to see, Tommy's out there, Tommy Fleetwood out there earlier was hitting 7-irons, and I'm watching him, and he's swinging at normal, and this thing's flying 192. I'm kind of going, well, I know he hits it a long way, but he doesn't hit it 192. So I chatted with him. He goes, yeah, it's because, a little bit obviously downwind, but the heat index is carrying this golf ball an extra probably 5%.
So that can help him, though, because
That's
out
exactly
on the course, he's going to be like, hey, I was just on the practice range, and I was overshooting by 20 yards.
So the number one thing that I would imagine most of these guys are looking at, unless they're working on something specific with their swing, say that they're fighting a little bit of, coming across it, you can look at that number. But most of these guys, they're looking to see exactly what the spin rate is and how far the golf ball is going, because those two numbers are the ones that they want to know the best. They want to know those the most, because they need to know exactly how far it's flying. When this heat index gets up here, where the air gets a little bit, heavier with the humidity, ball tends to stay in the air just a little bit longer. So it's just the small things that these guys are chasing.
Yep.
Talking to Rich Beem, PGA champion, out here for Sky Sports all week long, enjoying some Cromwell, enjoying some of this beautiful weather we got here for day number one. The next guy I got to ask you about is kind of like my fantasy fave. I love playing fantasy golf like every week.
Yeah.
Wednesday night is a very important night in my life.
Picking their team.
The guy who's like the porridge that Goldilocks chose. Not too much money, not too low, and he always plays and always finishes. Shane Lowry.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more about
Yeah.
Shane Lowry, because it feels like he's the golfer's golfer.
Well, I'm going to plug myself for 2 seconds here because the guy that I do this with tells me I need to plug myself all the time. But I got this new podcast I do just out of kind of fun.
Go.
It's
News to us.
Listen, it's Beamer's Best Bets. Basically, I look at the computer.
Nice.
And here's the thing. I don't look at the odds. I don't look at this. I look and see who do I think's playing best. What's the golf course like? How does it fit him? And do I like him or not?
Personally, do I
I
personally like him?
do I personally like him or not? And I don't. It's not that bad. But I mean, it's like I tend to kind of pick the same guys as I always do. Like I'll pick Tommy Fleetwood every single day of every single
Love
week.
that
Like,
guy.
my man crush is there 100%.
For sure.
Shane is awesome. Shane is the same guy every single day of the week. I mean, I can't tell you how much fun he is to hang around with and to sit and listen to and just be around. He is so laid back. He's intense as a competitor, but I'd say he's quick with a smile. He's quick with a joke. You know, as the Irish say, yeah, he's good crack. You know, he's out on the crack. First time I heard that, I'm like, dude, I did some really weird.
Thing.
I did some weird things back in college, but I didn't do it on the crack line. But crack just means going out and having some fun. But
Okay.
CRAIC, I think, is how they spell crack. But anyways, great guy, solid. I mean, his game is unreal. I mean, you talk about a guy you'd want to watch around the greens more than anything else.
Yeah.
Even though the ball striking has gotten significantly better this year around the greens, man, he's got some really good hands.
Time to see you and talk golf with you, but more importantly, be safe out there, man. It's hot.
Tell the people
Take
the
care of
hand
yourself.
trick you were telling us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Before you go.
Oh yeah. So years ago when I was playing, I learned this trick. I forget who it was, but when like every third hole or something like that, I would actually, when it was hot like this, I would go over to the cooler where they had the waters or whatnot, and you got to stick your hand in there for about 30 to 45 seconds.
Just your hand.
Just your hand, just one hand, because apparently the blood circulates through your body fairly quickly, and so after 30 to 45 seconds, it makes its way and it cools you down. And I'll be damned if it doesn't do it.
That's
so
fantastic.
Yeah,
There you
I mean
go.
it's really one of those bizarre things. But stick your hand in that cooler and it just circulates through because it cools the blood off, and there you go.
Excellent.
Everybody, Rich Beem. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back.